Good evening and welcome to the October edition of Agents of Hope. Tonight we have two wonderful speakers for you. These two speakers are going to talk to you about how to deal with adversity and how to handle success and remain successful. I have the pleasure, the honor to introduce our first speaker. This young lady is 16 years old, and she is my hero. Uh, this lady has taught me what it what it means to deal with adversity. She's taught me how to handle difficulty. She's uh, helped me with my faith, and she has given me a positive outlook on life. It is a pleasure to introduce to you my daughter, my last baby, my mini-me, Omo Yanjuola Ogunfiriti.
I'm Yanjuola and I am a cancer survivor. On July 17, 2013, I was diagnosed with stage 3 brain cancer. The symptoms that I've had before I was diagnosed were headaches, severe headaches, and really bad migraines. After having headaches and migraines for a while, I decided that I should at least go see a doctor, try to find out what's going on. The doctors had suggested that I had a concussion. A concussion? Well, they weren't even close. It was possible, I thought at first, because I had fallen previously in school during a track meet, and I'd hit my head pretty hard. To get rid of my concussion, the doctors put me on a medicine plan. I took Tylenol and Motrin for 30 days. They thought maybe that would help, but it wasn't working. After the 30th day, I still had terrible headaches. Matter of fact, they were getting worse. So on July 16th, 2013, the doctors decided that I should have an MRI. I had my very first MRI on that day. I wasn't sure what it was, and I was scared. I was sure to get through it. The results came back immediately. They were so fast with the results. It's like a blink of the eye. By the next day, they had called my parents to tell them a tumor was found. It's probably one of the scariest things to witness. I remember that morning that I was diagnosed. My mom gave me a call around 10:30. She said, "Pack your stuff. Hurry up, I'm on my way to get you. I need to take you to the hospital. They're going to admit you." I didn't know what that meant. All I knew is that I had to get ready. I didn't know what they're going to do, but I assumed I had a concussion, they're going to fix it. And that's what I was going off of. At 11 a.m., I was in the car. My parents were rushing me to the hospital. Not a word was said in the car. There's nothing that you can say at that time. By 12 p.m., I was laying down in a little hospital roller bed type of thing. And they were placing markers on my head so that they could see where to go in for surgery. Still no idea what was going on. I didn't understand it. I've never seen it before. And I'll admit, I was really scared at that time. By 12:30, I was falling into a deep sleep. They had a mask over my face. They're pumping gas into it, anesthesia. I don't remember much from the effects of the anesthesia, but one thing that I do remember is looking up at my parents and saying, "Guys, I have butterflies in my stomach." Then, boom, I was out like a light. Some of you out there are parents yourselves, and I can only, I can't even imagine what it would feel like to have your 13-year-old daughter being rolled into a room and going under brain surgery. 13. It's just too young of an age. Now put yourself in my shoes, because I'm the one that had cancer. How did I go through it? I remember waking up after surgery, and the very first person that I saw was my aunt, my Auntie Bala, all the way from North Carolina. I was so confused. Through those 8 hours that I was out, I didn't understand what happened. All I know is that I felt like I'd been asleep for about a week. I thank God that she was there for me, and I appreciate her so, so much. I really do. I remember also seeing my brother and my mom, my dad, and I felt so appreciated. I was so appreciated, and I felt so happy to see them there, especially with what took them taking like time out of their day to come to me. I remember seeing my brother in his McDonald's costume, or work outfit, and he just came from work. I had stayed in the hospital for some time before going home, and I remember being in those hospital rooms, colder than ever, thin blankets, uncomfortable beds, and terrible food. But I was grateful to have the people around me. Shortly after staying in the hospital for some time, I went home, and my parents had set up a little room for me in the basement where I could stay, so I didn't have to go up and down the stairs. They always brought me breakfast, and they always made sure that I took my medicines. Through the time staying at home, I had a lot of time to think, and I've developed the power of positive thinking. See, if I think I'm going to be okay, then I'll be okay. If I think I'll be happy, then I'll be happy. At the same time, if I think I'm not going to be okay, then I won't. So I always had to keep myself positive, or else I would never get better. Some of the ways that I approached being positive while waiting at home were making fun of myself, because I always like to laugh, and I always wanted to make sure that no one could say anything about me that I haven't already said about myself. So I went on social media like Vine, made funny videos about my hair falling out and me being bald and my eyes being all crossed because of surgery. And I just made sure that I laughed at myself. Another thing that I did was I told my story to all of my friends. I posted it immediately on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram. Listen, guys, I have cancer. This is what happened. This is what I know. And I have a tumor. I'm sick. I don't know what's going on. I wanted to make sure that I told the story before anybody else could, because nobody knows the story more than me. I wouldn't want them to tell their interpretation of it if it's wrong. I also stayed positive, always smiled, always looked at the bright side of things, because a dark side will not exist if there is no bright side. I always saw the bright side of everything. Yeah, I have to stay home, but people wish they could stay home, always working out there and, always stressing themselves. And yeah, I have to stay away from too many. I can't have too many people over because germs. But now I had time to relax and see for myself. I had the time to realize my and interpret my life and look at what I'm doing with my life and what I plan on doing. I had the chance to see who my true friends are, who came to visit me, who called, who FaceTimed, who did anything to reach out, who wrote a letter, who anything. And that's when I got to realize who my true friends are, who my true close family members are. After going through everything that I've been through, I realized something and I've developed a motto that I always go by. This motto is to always remember that God sends his toughest soldiers to battle. God put me through this to see if I would remain faithful to him. That even when things look like they're never going to get better, that they will. I pray to God every day because I know that he was there for me. He was watching over me. I was so blessed. And it's crazy for me to say that this was a blessing, but this was a blessing because I gained more from cancer than I've lost. For example, just this summer, Make-A-Wish Foundation took me and my best friend Emma, shout out to Emma, I love you, took us to Paris, France. And I've always wanted to go to Paris, France. I've also been able to grow a better relationship with my friends, especially my best friend Emma. We became closer than ever through this experience because she went through it with me. We've been able to travel to places like Mexico, and looking into the future, I'm open to so many scholarships and opportunities for being a cancer survivor. And hopefully, if things go as planned, I'll be able to meet Ellen through this process as well. Ellen DeGeneres is my role model, and I've always wanted to meet her. So, always remember, no matter what, God sends his toughest soldiers to war. No matter what you're going through, God wants to know how you handle it. That's all it's about. And stay positive. Always think positively because attitude is what will get you through. Thank you to my family and friends for supporting me tonight, for coming out and watching me give this speech. I feel so grateful to have you all here. Good night.